Okay, this beautiful plant is dedicated to my mother, Miss Connie, my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and to a good friend of mine, Miss April 23. And I'm going to wish everyone out there happy holidays, and have a good time and have a safe holiday season. And I'll have the shows done during that period of time. So keep an eye out and watch them and have a good time. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, looks like the camera's rolling, lights are on, so we're recording. I'll go around here and try to enlighten you with some of the more important stuff going on around here in Corpus Christi, Texas. As you know, we've got elected officials. I've misplaced for today my Pinocchio cartoon. I think the pachyderm excrement probably does it a little bit better. Let you know where I am with things. And like I say, this is what's going on in Corpus Christi, Texas. Taxpayer show, essentially. I am the president of the Taxpayers Association here, much to the dismay of many that don't appreciate taxpayers keeping up with all the shenanigans going on around here with all these elected officials and tax collecting entities. But, and then once again, you know, I'd like to dedicate these beautiful amaryllis plant to Miss Connie, my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and a good friend of mine, Miss April 23. And hope she's doing well. She had a problem up there. She's out of town at another university and working on a degree in aeronautical engineering, and she leased a house which was all molded up, and thank goodness that's a bit of my background. So we've had her tested, she and her two kids and her two nephews that she has custody of, and they have got the fungal toxins in their body fluids, so we're fighting that one, and we finally got her out of that house. And I will mention that, you know, next show I'll go ahead and divulge all of that and tell you who the management company was. It's based out of Austin, Texas, actually. That's the big one in the state. They've done absolutely nothing except ignore her and her problems. So, you know, the consequences, I hope, are going to be dire. But we'll see what happens. Okay, now, city paying outside attorneys. I have a very wonderful vice president of the Taxpayers Association, Mr. Jack Gordy. He has been officers before. He was a president of that group for several years after a wonderful guy by the name of Joe O'Brien had relinquished his presidency after many years. Now, I would like to mention that there was an article in here after our president, George H.W. Bush, passed away, which is a crime. Well, not a crime, it's just a shame. He was a very, very upstanding guy. He was a World War II Navy pilot. My dad was a World War II Air Force or Army Air Corps fighter pilot, and both of them were shot down. And both of them, thank God, had gone ahead and survived. There was an article in the paper today about a gentleman that was shot down, I think in 1947 in the Philippines, in a P-51. That's what my dad was shot down in. And they finally found his remains over there, and through the marvels of modern biochemistry and so forth and so on, they have figured out who he was and confirmed that it was him at the site of that wreck. So, you know, we're doing some good things today. So, you know, my hat's off to that family. But I'm glad that you finally, after this many years, have had, you know, put to rest your concerns about him missing in action. But after President Bush died, the article in the 11th, a few days ago, is Naval Air Station Corpus Christi may be renamed after Bush. Well, I think that would be great because I know he got his wings out here. He did a lot of training here in Corpus Christi, He was a good friend of also Mr. Joe O'Brien, who was also a naval aviator. So you don't call them pilots, they're aviators if you're naval. So I try to maintain that decorum, being a service brat and being raised by some of the best fighter pilots, including naval aviators in the world when I was a young kid. Anyway, so I'm all for renaming the Naval Air Station Corpus Christi after President George H.W. Bush. Okay, so I'm going to follow this, and if we can sign a petition or whatever, I'll see what I can do to circulate it. And I know that President Bush and Joe O'Brien were friends. I've got all the past records from the Taxpayers Association. There are boxes and boxes of that, file boxes, and I'm going through that, and apparently there was a strong, bond between the two of them, and also some other of the famous aviators around. So anyway, I hope that goes through for you, President Bush. You were a real gentleman, and I'm so sick and tired of watching all these talking heads. They're yakking at each other and disparaging each other and demeaning each other these days. And then another good thing that's happened here is we have a doctor who receives a Nobel Prize. He was PhD. He was from, I believe it was from Alice, okay, and he was working at MD Anderson on cancer research and so forth and so on. And he and another gentleman, I think he was Japanese, maybe it's an Oriental name. But anyway, they both received that, shared that Nobel Prize from MD Anderson. Okay, so hats off to you, Mr. Jim Allison. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, but I will try this time. And Alice ought to be real pleased with that. There's some good people that have come out of Alice, Texas, in the past, and there will be more in the future. Okay, I'm going to get back to the Taxpayers Association meeting that we had at the first Saturday of the month of December. And at that we discussed various things. I've got the agenda here. I've got a very active group of people. Mr. Gordy is the one that goes and rattles a lot of the cages around here with the elected officials at the City Council meetings, as well as the Del Mar Board of Regents. And I've actually seen him upset, I guess, particularly Mr. Trey McCampbell. I think he is no longer the chair or the president of the Board of Regents at Del Mar College, but I've seen him thrown out of both City Council meetings and the Board of Regents meetings because they really can't put up with what he says. When you tell the truth, you're in trouble, okay? And the Taxpayers Association people like to adhere very strictly to the truth. Now, the first Saturday in January, at 2 p.m. at Small Planet Deli, that's Saratoga and Staples. In their back room, we're going to have the Taxpayers Association meeting. If you're interested in joining that group and participating in a bunch of us hollering and screaming, essentially, you have to. Nobody pays any attention when you try to calmly solve things with them. Then, you're free to come in. So that'll be the first Saturday in January. I don't have that exact date written down here, but it is at 2 o'clock, Small Planet Delicatessen, Saratoga and Staples, at 2 o'clock. Now, Mr. Gordy, with the blessings of the Taxpayers Association, he's very interested in the amount of money that's spent on attorneys, outside attorneys, both by the city and by Del Mar College. So he's gone on a quest to do that, with everyone in the Taxpayers Association's backing with that. Now, the first one he did was, I want you to understand that we have, I believe this is true, it's 26 full-time attorneys on the payroll of the city of Corpus Christi, Texas. Okay, and one of them is one of the worst, I think, and he's actually the lead city attorney down there. Okay. He's, he's something else, folks, and you need to learn about what he does and does not do. Okay. Now, Mr. Gordy filed a letter, and he asked for all the money that has been spent by the city of Corpus Christi between July the 1st, 2017, and June the 30th of 2018 for outside attorneys. Now, what he got back, and they were mostly timely about this, they're a lot better than Del Mar College. Del Mar just it's delay, delay, delay. And I think it's about time for us to file a massive lawsuit against Del Mar College through the Attorney General's office to quit all that procrastination and all the bovine excrement they sling over there about why they can't get things done. They're too busy spending all your money throwing away appealing lawsuits and so forth. I'll get into that in a minute. But Gordy got this amount back. This is July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018, the amount of money that has been spent by the city for outside attorneys. Now, this is in addition to the 26 full-timers. We didn't get their paychecks. That's in addition to. This is actual cash out of town and to outside attorneys. It was $2,930,880.17, and we're asking for an update through the first of 2019. We'll ask for that the first week in January of 2019. That's a lot of money, folks. Okay. And then I read an article not long ago, since we've got all these chug holes around here, that says the city says to the residents that was in the newspaper, don't fill potholes on your own, which is bovine excrement, folks. What am I supposed to do? Hit the same one? Now, I'm going to suggest I'm going to go down at the first of the year. I've been snowed under with my teaching duties at Del Mar College. I've been relieved of a lot of that here recently. For all of you people out there that I've had in the past and in my classes, mostly the microbiology, pre-allied health, and the majors, then I have been convinced by Del Mar College that they don't give a rip about students over there and the quality and safety of laboratories. So I have given up. I will no longer teach a microbiology class at Del Mar College, period. End of discussion. I want to go back and teach human anatomy, physiology, and then I don't have to stay over there all weekend prepping labs and so forth. And the cost to you people of those laboratories over there, they're the new individuals that know how to teach that the right way, I'm told. Okay, since I apparently can't teach micro the right way, I've only been doing it at Del Mar for, it'll be 29 and a half years today, and then this August I'll have been there for 30 years. But I don't know what I'm talking about, and I don't know how to teach the microbiology, obviously. We've got two wizards over there that are capable of doing that now. So I'm going to turn it over to them, and all I can say is good luck, Del Mar College, and the skyrocket. It's going to the cost to do those laboratories and so forth, buying the equipment instead of having me make up solutions and culture media and stuff is going to be astronomical. Okay, and then they've taken up all of our lab assistants or lab directors' time by having her go down there and build stuff like that. It's crazy. And then I can't get into this. I couldn't get into the prep room this entire semester because I've got, like I say, we've got the award-winning microbiologist over there who's taken on the majors classes. He's the one that has the lies about trademark stuff on the wall, and he teaches, part-time. He's got a young man that is not degreed teaching his lecture in labs at times, and the students are starting to raise hell about that. But that's another day. Okay. It's going to hell over there in a handbasket, folks, and there's nothing I can do about it, so I'm just going to stand back and film it and have a good time, okay? So for my spineless department chair and spineless dean and spineless vice president of instruction and totally disjointed and uncaring president of Del Mar College, then have fun, folks. It's all yours. I'm going to send the students to you when they start to complain. Okay. I'm done. But can you imagine just under $3 million your fine city's paying for outside fees? What happens to what are these other 26 attorneys doing? I know that the city attorney, the main one down there, who I have absolutely zero respect for, all he does is sit around and make excuses why they can't do things. Okay? And, as far as I'm concerned, he's not worth his salt, but I guess he's down there schmoozing the city council people, and most of them are just down there for the ride anyway, for the publicity. Oh, look at me, you can come over here and kiss my patootie, okay, because I'm a city council member, okay? They don't care about the city, folks. It's making money for all their extremely wealthy buddies, I'll just put it to you that way. Okay. And then as far as potholes go, I don't think we'll ever see the streets, in shape. It takes them forever to pave a street. I don't know who's contracting these people out. I'm sure it's all the friends of the city council members and all the elite around here. They're the ones that are making all the money, the architects, engineers, and so forth. And contractors. That certainly is true at Del Mar College. Now, Del Mar College pays outside attorneys, okay? And we have I think they have one of the worst reputations for filling the Public Information Act requests in the universe, okay? And they pay an awful lot of money to outside attorneys. Now, I've asked for some information along with another gentleman, and we were told that in order to provide that information through the Public Information Act request, it would cost us $26.7 million to have them do that for the financial records and stuff over there. Now, we wound up paying zero after we put a big stink up, and I don't think they were embarrassed. It's hard to embarrass morons, but that's what we've got. But they pay outside attorneys. And then a good friend of mine, Dr. Bruce Olson, asked for some information, and they said it was $6,000 some odd dollars. So he went ahead and they said it would be $3 something up front, and he could pay the rest of it later. So he went over and wrote a check for that, which horrified them. And then they, had to pay him back because that was unjustified. Okay. Then there has been a problem here lately that Mr. Gordy has run into. Okay, he wrote a Public Information Act request to find out how much the college pays outside attorneys, particularly the one up there, Graves, Daughtry, etc., out of Austin. Mr. Christian is the attorney of record up there, and they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars, folks. Okay, now Dr. Olson at one time complained about some stuff, wrote a equal opportunity EEOC complaint. So what did they do? They went over there in January of 2013 and they locked him out. They changed the lock on his door. Then, to make a long story short, he was, the president came in and said he didn't know about it until 30 minutes before we arrived over there. I went with Dr. Olson over to the vice president, then Dr. Figueroa. I called him the Fig. And, here comes the president with Dr. Figueroa and says, oh, Dr. Olson, I didn't know about this till 30 minutes before. Well, we found out through the court records and so forth that was not exactly the truth, that he had signed off and said that he approved them going ahead and early retiring Dr. Olson. But they locked him out, they stole a bunch of his personal property, and so forth and so on, which he hasn't seen yet. And I think in this last meeting the other day on December the 11th, it was on the agenda over there that they would go ahead and find out whether they were going to go ahead and settle with him or not. Okay. Now there's a court that awarded him a great amount of money, and then we've spent probably $1.5 million on that case so far, you taxpayers out there. And then Mr. Augustin Rivera, I think he must be a cousin to Miles Risley down there at the city. I mean, he's despicable, folks. He's a very vindictive person, okay? And he can't stand the fact that he's been, had his hide nailed to the wall for misappropriating a bunch of funds down there and maintaining all these appeals after appeal after appeal of jury awards to Dr. Olson. It's incredibly stupid. And why that Board of Regents, I know why the administration puts up with him, because he's a yes man, and they think he's going to protect them, and they're a bunch of bullies, just like Mr. Augustin Rivera is, the attorney. Okay, now, so Mr. Gordy asked for the amount of money that they've spent on Dr. Olson's case, And he wrote that back in mid-November, I think it was, and then they said, well, we need more time. And then I think he called me this morning, and said that they said they were going to get information to him yesterday, but did not. I guess they mailed the letter to him, and now they've delayed it again. Okay? So my advice to Mr. Gordy was to Monday morning, and that'll be a week after, this will be weeks after that day that he calls the Attorney General's office, and I'm going to put up some money and see if I can't, because they're delaying me on information, and delay. So I think it's time to sue Del Mar College through the Attorney General's office, if that's possible. So I'm just putting everybody on notice that I'm going to pursue that line of stuff. Okay? Now, another thing that matters is I follow the check registers that are published for each of the agendas for the Board of Regents meetings at Del Mar College. Okay? They have to post it before noon on the Friday if they're going to have a Tuesday meeting the next week. It's 72-hour notice as they have to post the meeting agendas. And religiously for a lot of years, I have been able to go into those agendas and look them up, and they have a list of checks that they have written on Del Mar College accounts. Okay? Now, since Mr. Gordy and I are both trying to get a total value, or a total amount of money that Del Mar squandered on all these appeals, and particularly in the Olson case, then, what they do is they stall us out. Now, I think this was on purpose. I'm going to make that accusation publicly. But there was no check ledger or register that was attached to the last Board of Regents meeting agenda for December the 11th of 2018. And I think that's on purpose, okay? Because they don't want you to find out through Mr. Gordy and myself and other people in the Taxpayers Association how much money they've spent, okay? Now, that group is a $400 and some odd an hour fees they charge. If they call Dr. Escamilla and they chat for a minute on the telephone, they've got it down to the minute for the charges, and it's $425 an hour just to sit there and talk, and then to try to figure out how they can buffalo the taxpayers down here and how they can bully, the employees. And I've got a whole thing on bullying. I'm going to cut the South Texas News and Reviews show here the same day. I'm going to regroup, and I'll talk about other things that are citywide and some of the problems with the city. But the right to know has even been, the Caller Times of all people who are very, very good friends with Dr. Escamilla and the crowd at Del Mar College, because Del Mar puts these stupid ads in there all the time, with the Viking and all this other garbage, and so they're not going to say anything derogatory about Del Mar, for fear that the ad money will go somewhere else. I don't know where it's going to go, but that's Del Mar's prerogative. But the Caller Times has even written articles about I think it was Whitehurst that had one in not long ago about the right to know and how concerned they are with the Public Information Act. And do you have, as a taxpayer, a right to know how they're squandering your money over there? Okay. And one of the biggest crimes that I see is that Southside campus, along with all the building that's going on East and West. And I want to tell you, taxpayers, right up front now, I believe, and I'm looking up the information on this, but I've been told by a reliable source that with all the bond money that you people have voted in, which is millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for buildings that we do not need, okay, that we are now per student, I guess the registered student, whatever they call those full-time equivalent students over there, we've got the highest debt of any school in the state of Texas. We've just superseded, I believe it was Laredo was up there real high. So, and then when I see the reports out by Del Mar that our classrooms and facilities are only used 35% of the time during the day, and we're building thousands of square feet more buildings and new buildings, and we won't maintain what we've got. I would like to see you go over to the Coles building on East Campus, and during the evening time, and try to navigate those stairs over there when the lights are out. I've got people tripping all the time. You can go into those three arena-looking classrooms. I use 227. They've got two seats that pivot like this on a single place, and the seats rock around, and they're starting to fall off. And Delmar fixing them? No. I think they're doing just a quick fix over there. But they won't clean the carpets, and they won't clean that. They won't put the lights in and take care of the seats. And when I have to teach in that room, I tell my students that it is unsafe in there, and that if they fall out of that chair, when you get in there, just make sure that seat is going to be, you're able to ride through it and sit in it through lecture. Because I don't want to be held responsible if you fall out of that chair, if it breaks off that bracket, and it's very weak welding, and people are shifting around on it like a teeter-totter, then I don't want to be hauled in front of one of these, personal injury attorneys around here and blamed for that. But that's exactly what Delmar College would do, is they blame it on me. Why didn't I say something? Well, I've been screaming about it for years. And are they doing anything about it? Not no, but hell no. Okay? So, and a lot of our faculty members out of biology use those rooms, and they've been squawking about it too. It's dangerous over there, folks. Okay? And then people falling down the stairs at night because they can't even change the light bulbs to light up the stairwells. And then it took me a couple of shows raising hell about it to get a handicap door fixed. Okay? So, they're spending the hundreds of millions of dollars over there to build new facilities, and they will not take care of what they've got. So, as far as I'm concerned, DMC does not stand for Delmar College. It is Deferred Maintenance College, and it runs rampant. And I guess the one that really ought to care does not. His name is Dr. Mark Escamilla. He doesn't give a damn about people's safety over there, as far as I'm concerned. I'm a trained scientist, folks. I take in information, and then I formulate what I believe is my opinion about things. And that's my opinion from watching his inaction and his bullying ways now for, he's been there 10 years? And he only makes about $340,000 per year, and he's never there. So why don't you get on the horn and call your Board of Regents member? We did get a new one in that replaced one that I thought was a terrible person. I'm going to see how this gentleman does, and he's a well-known entity around here, Coach Salinas, and I'm going to go have a sit down with him. Okay? So what can I say? The only way you can get these people off dead center and get anything done is just to go ahead and, start raising hell. And then I'll get back to quote enforcement at at the city during the South Texas News and Reviews show, and then I'll go in and show you what Miles Ridley, our city attorney, is worth when it comes to ADA compliance. He doesn't care. So I'm going to go ahead and hope I've enlightened you. You need to start calling your Board of Regents member and raising hell. You can call the switchboard at 361-698-1200 and ask for any of the administrators too. Like Dr. Escamilla, you ought to start with him. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits. I'm going to go ahead and let you see that beautiful amaryllis plant that I had. I just stumbled across that over at one of the local stores and bought it, and those things are just wonderful. So if you want to raise some good stuff every year, then get you some amaryllis bulbs and go at it. And I'll be right back. Okay? And that's true. Pardon me, I'm dry today. Rozier City calls students on their cheating, or calls them out on their cheating. I tell them that I don't think it's theirs, Rozier said. I'm not that vindictive, but in that instance, their grade will be diminished accordingly. There's a policy you can use to change a student with that kind of cheating, but I've never had to do that. Okay, I've had a couple of them that cheat. Okay, and then I'll go into my producer, Dr. Janelle Bennett, on the What's Going On show, and students that complained that she was too tough. And Delmar College spent a lot of time and money trying to force her out, and finally did. or I guess she settled out, but that was horrifying, you know, that Del Mar College is going to stand behind students that complain and cheat and so forth and so on. The forensic accounting from Kessler International in its 2017 study found that more than 75% of students admitted to, and then I'm going to have to go to page 5 here and find this, if it's indeed on that page in here. There we go. Copying someone else's assignment word for word. A Del Mar College drama major admitted to cheating last semester on an essay. Okay? I was up all night trying to figure out how I was going to finish my history essay, said the student who wished to remain anonymous. I wonder why. I ended up looking up a bunch of summaries on Ronald Reagan during the AIDS crisis and pieced them together while using a thesaurus to change some of the words. Lord, just do your work. When asked if he still cheats, he said no, but it's not impossible. I'm not saying I'll ever cheat again, he said. I just haven't needed to since that one time. I just make sure I don't procrastinate so that way, if I guess it won't come down to me cheating. A psychology major also said she cheats regularly during her math course. I sit in the back of the room on purpose to cheat, the psychology major said. I'm terrible at math, but my major requires 1 semester of math. I usually write the equations I don't remember on my bottled water, or sometimes I'll write them on my wrist with my watch covering them up. While cheating does not seem like it will end anytime soon, most students don't see anything bad in cheating. The survey found that more than 95% of students had never been caught. I get it, cheating is bad, the psychology major said, but if I get caught, that's on me. For the meantime, though, I'm still going to cheat. So that's what really makes me wonder. You know, I try to keep an eye on people, and I tell my students, if you see somebody cheating in there, they're going to cheat their way into one of the programs before you get there. So let me know, and I'll damn sure take care of it. Okay. Then we've got new classrooms to include high-tech spaces. Now, Del Mar College has skinned you people out there for hundreds of millions of dollars for nothing. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right up front that a survey of the classroom space usage at Del Mar College has been conducted. I think it was done by Del Mar itself. I doubt that they'll ever see the light of day unless somebody says something about it. Me. But less than 35% of the time, classrooms are vacant. Or, excuse me, they're vacant except under 35% utilization. And we're building all these new buildings on East, West, and then now we're going to put up a probably $500 million campus on West Campus over there on Swampland. And somebody called me today and said there's a trailer out there and they're running soil tests, and we drove by there and there's still big puddles of water with egrets walking around and storks and you know, all kinds of waterfowl. And I said, yep, without your knowledge, several years ago, Del Mar College Board of Regents, as led by Mr. Trey McCampbell, spent over $60,000 per acre for 96 acres of ground out there, swampland, to build this great big huge campus that will house ultimately 20,000 students. Now I think they've cut that back down to 15,000, but we don't have 15,000 students at Del Mar College East, West, and Northwest campus now. And we're building $157 million worth of buildings, space that we don't need. And I said on the other show, they're not taking care of the facilities over there. It's not Del Mar College, it's Deferred Maintenance College. And if you go through some of those buildings, it's a crime. They don't have lit, you know, they won't replace lights in the hallways over there, particularly in the Coles building. At night, I've seen people slip. I almost fell down the other day. I have night classes over there. And I pray every time I have a class in one of those rooms over there that'll house about 100 students. And they've got the chairs that are one bracket, and they've got a chair this way and a chair this way, and they swivel back and forth. And the wells are starting to break, and you go in, and the chairs have been taken off, and they stuck under the bench with this big yellow tape, caution tape, around the tabletop. And I understand that they're trying to salvage that stuff. And I pray every time I have a class over there, folks, that nobody's going to break one of those chairs and fall and break their necks or bones and so forth. And there goes another pile of my tax money. I'm a taxpayer in the college district, folks, and I really resent the waste that goes on over there. Okay, and all they do is they sit there and feed you nothing but a bunch of bovine excrement, along with a whole bunch of equine excrement. And then who gets holding the bag for all the pachyderm excrement that's excreted over there? Taxpayers, as I showed you in the beginning of the show. Okay, so new classrooms to include high-tech spaces. We can't keep computer systems going over there during the registration time. We don't have the security over there. We don't have anybody, to my knowledge, that knows anything about security. And the guy that was the head of the IT program had a degree, bachelor's degree in business. And I didn't see any proof that he had anything in IT. And now he's the vice president of information and all the rest of this stuff, and he's over maintenance. And maintenance doesn't do a damn thing over there except procrastinate. And they've got, I think, one full-time painter, maybe one full-time carpenter, and then they've got some porters running their butts off over there trying to keep everybody happy. And, Dr. Escamilla's sitting there, I guess, at a free breakfast downtown. He's never on campus anymore, that I can tell. And, he doesn't give a damn. But he's out there getting money for his buddies, for all these architects, engineers, contractors and stuff, to build all these monuments to, I guess he wants his name on it. I'm not sure what his motive is. And he's only making about $340,000 a year. That's 3 or 4 times what some of the top paid faculty members are making. Okay, and they're over there all the time. They're not wherever. Oh, here it is. Escamilla and Valdar go over the edge for students. So I guess here's Dr. Escamilla going to rappel down a 20-story building along with that mascot that we really needed. Valdar, we're spending a fortune for that clown. And then I understand in last night's graduation they did the Viking clap again. I mean, it's grade school stuff. Social media post criticized Professor Clark in hot seat after Facebook comment. This was one of our professors over there that indicated that he would give extra credit if somebody would go vote for Beto O'Rourke for that political thing. And here he is, Beto O'Rourke visits Del Mar College. Big deal. I'm so damn sick and tired of federal politicians I could just vomit. Regents approved Southside plan. This was back in October, And it's got a picture of Mr. Gabe Rivas here. Architect calls new campus a safe place for students, a home. Well, they're out there and they're going to find out that I've been right for the last 10 years when I'm screaming and yelling that they bought 96 acres of swampland. And Marie Colson had a house up there, a slab that sunk into the mud out there when she owned it. And I'd drive by there after big rains every once in a while, and I'd look out into her pastures out there, and the cows and the horses were belly deep in water for days. And it hasn't changed. And then they say enrollment figure highest in 8 years, 12,222 students, the most since 2010. I don't think that one stood up, okay? We've been flatlined since 1992. I can prove that mathematically by their own numbers from Del Mar College, and I have proved it and I preached it. But we've actually decreased in students because out of the total number they say they've got, and they publish every year, for the last 3 years, that total count that they put out includes the dual credit students who don't even go to campus. They don't pay full tuition. Okay? They're in the high schools and they're taking those classes. So I just thought I'd give you that. And then we've got, like as I said, severe delays in the Public Information Act request. I'm going to start writing, and I need to write a couple of bitch letters, is what I call them, to the Texas Attorney General, because I'm sick and tired of them sitting over there and trying to cover up all of their mistakes and so forth and so on, and the money they spend for frivolous lawsuits and so forth. Okay? It's not frivolous lawsuit filed against them. They're being frivolous and think that it's frivolous, so they're just going to go over there and try to protect their butts and not get into hot water with the taxpayers, although they are, by trying to cover it up. I'll go back to the Manhattan Alley Cat. Then I got interested in an article that says judges learn about using firearms safely. I think it's a real crime in this world today, modern world, that a fantastic judge was my neighbor down the street here, and she's the 347th district judge. I'll let you look her up. She's a very, very polished and she's just a fantastic judge. I'm glad to have her there. And she's here learning how to get her license to carry class, concealed, so she can protect herself. And it's just a crime that we've got a bunch of Looney Tunes out there running around that would take a shot at somebody like that, and they have to go to the trouble to try to protect themselves. And I'm all for it. I'll give you a short story about my dad, the very highly decorated fighter pilot from World War II. This was during the Korean heyday, and they were flying all over the world. And he took me out at the age of 6 or 7 out to the base there at Turner Air Force Base in Albany, Georgia. And he said, "Here's a Colt 45 automatic. It's a service issue." And it felt like it weighed 500 pounds to me. Now, I'm 6, 7 years old, folks, and I've got this enormous slab of steel and lead in my hand. And he said, "I'm going to line up these Coke bottles," and those were 6.5-ounce Coke bottles, and he put them bottom up. He put 10 of them out there on this little fence. And he said, "When you can hit 9 out of 10 of those," it was a 10-round magazine in the pistol, he said, "you're going to go home and you're going to put it under your pillow at night, and you're going to protect your mother and your brother from anybody that wants to invade that house while I'm gone for 6 to 12 months at a time." I don't carry one anymore. Then I'll jump to something else. We had a bunch of people around here that wanted the plastics thing out here. Was it M&G Plastics? And here was an article on 11/27/18, "Small Plastics a Big Deal in the Ocean. Area Institute Raising Awareness of Nurdles." Okay? And it shows a picture of a little girl with tweezers that has a little plastic ball in it. They're called nurdles in the business. Okay? If the volume of oil spilled into an ocean equal the mass of nurdles escaping annually into the Gulf of Mexico, the level of media attention and public outrage would be impossible to ignore. Amen to that. Okay? This is in the Caller Times, 11/27. Here's everything you need to know about this man-made material littering Texas beaches and beyond. Now, we had E.O. McQueen with the Clean Economy Coalition when M&G was coming in, and some of these other plastics companies wanted to come in. He went down to, I think it was South America somewhere, Yucatan or something, that made these little plastic nurdles. And he said they were floating around down there in the salt water everywhere and in the rivers and so forth. Oh, well, it's not going to be a big deal. We can make a fortune here with all of our contractors and all of our bankers and stuff, and we can bring these large companies in to make these plastic nurdles, and everything's going to be wonderful. So I guess, finally we were not inundated with that. But when people tell you, folks, that plastic bags are bad news, plastic nurdles are bad news, I've still got people that won't give me the time of day since I was the chair of the Clean Economy Coalition, and consequently you don't have the Las Brisas energy plant out here, courtesy of Chase Energy out of Houston, polluting you and killing, as the American Pediatric Association predicted, looking at the emissions that Las Brisas had published and tried to get in their permit from the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, they would have killed a minimum of 80 infants around here and a bunch of cardiac patients and everything else. But since that $3 billion, $2 or $3 billion plant was not done, then I get a lot of flack from people that own pipe and steel plants around here and companies and so forth and so on, and run banks and so forth and so on, because they wanted that plant here and they didn't give a damn about the health and welfare of our local residents, and they still don't. Okay, so I'm sorry that the group, and it wasn't just me, folks, we had at least 100 people that defeated Las Brisas Energy Center. A lot of manpower and a lot of sweat and a lot of money went into doing that. Okay, so I was just privileged to lead the band, so to speak. But of course, the downside of that is I'm accused of shutting that plant down, and I'll take that abuse. Okay. Now we've also got this Exxon SABIC site over in Ingleside, or no, I guess that's Portland, Gregory, Portland area. Okay, and they're going to, Exxon Mobil is going to put in this ethylene plant over there. And it says, as ethylene plant awaits permit, much is already being done. So they know it's going to be a good deal. Okay, and I hope that. And I really do need to go over there with those people from Portland and Gregory and so forth, and join their crowd and see if I can help them. Like I had a lot of help getting rid of Las Brisas Energy Center, okay, or not having it built. We finally convinced the state that this was going to be a very polluting and so forth affair here, and they did not grant the permit to build that place out here. And I was real surprised, because that was in the Rick Perry days. He was all for having his billionaire buddies make more money at the expense of 80 infants dying, and then the ungodly number of asthmatic patients and so forth and so on, respiratory problems, liver and so forth. So I think I'll get a hold. I know there is a group over there that's trying to fight this thing. It's just I've been so busy with Del Mar College teaching overloads and stuff, but now that I am I don't know how to teach micro the right way, and somebody else is going to do that for us, then I'm going to have a bit more time, not having to go in every weekend and make up solutions and culture dishes and all that good stuff. So give me some more time to go over here and see if I can help these people out. But see, it's already, as far as they're concerned, Exxon Mobil and this Saudi Arabian company, you see how Saudi Arabians treat us, okay? Then, you're on your own, folks, if you want to condone this. And I'll update you on anything that we can do through TCEQ to see if we can, have that one taken care of. County sites terminal concerns, okay? The Astra, I guess it's Mahuro, owned Buckeye Partners, a subsidiary of Trafigura, I don't know, leaves the port of Corpus Christi loaded with crude. So what we want to do is build this great big huge port over here, and facility terminal, so we can load up all this oil that we're pumping out of the ground and ship it off somewhere else, and not use it here to lower our gas prices in town, because you know how the oil companies and gasoline makers and stuff, if oil goes down, then they're going to be in trouble. They're not going to make near the profits that they would. And then that other thing, that Trafigura terminal opposition grows. I'm going to also have time to jump in there and raise hell about that. I think the port probably got some concerns about it. And then there's that one that was supposed to be offshore. I'm not sure that's the same one or not, but that's what we need 15 miles off the coast, is loading a bunch of oil through a pipeline that'll eventually leak, and then we'll have problems. And we didn't understand that we were going to have problems with that. Then I'm still concerned, growing up around airfields for most of my early days, and I am have been around airports. I did obtain my pilot's licenses with my dad many years ago, so I know the flying business real well, and know of the military since he was in it for so many years. But I can't believe that CCISD is going to be anywhere near the Ox Field out here, or is it Cabinets Field, and build a campus out there. And I just, it just horrifies me, the stupidity of these people. And all they want to do is be able to get their architects and engineers and contractors to make a bunch of money putting up another school that we don't need. I don't know what the enrollment out at Veterans Memorial is right now, but I know when they opened the doors, it was less than 50% occupied. And South Side may be growing, but it's not growing that fast. Okay, so you people have been screwed again. So if you want to go ahead, and it's worrisome that there's that $210 million bond, and you're going to put that thing over there on, CCISD, endangered kids. That's total corruption. Okay? So here's the editorial from the Caller Times. Your vote won't save kids from crashing plane. So, if they don't have the money to put it up, then what are you talking about? That didn't make a whole lot of sense for me. Okay? So, welcome to Corpus Christi, Texas. And then it says CCISD defends bond measure. And this is when they get into the accident potential zone, the APZ, and so forth and so on. And more lies, and so forth and so on. But, we also are having decreases in CCISD students, especially high school. Kids are saying, to heck with this. And I would like to interject the fact that since I am a Del Mar College faculty member, and I've been at this business for a number of years, that I am horrified by the lack of writing abilities, reading abilities, and mathematic abilities with graduates of CCISD. And that's not a reflection of the students not doing their job. It's this politicians that run CCISD, and they've got the students, the teachers, convinced that if they, flunk a student or something, here comes mom and pa and uncle and aunt and kid, brothers and sisters, and they'll go over there and threaten to sue the independent school district. So because of that, then we're going to knuckle under. And that's the same thing that happened to that dear friend of mine, one of the most intelligent PhD nurses I've ever met in my life. Okay, and I've met a great number of them. And because 6 students thought that she was too tough, then she spent, a year or better pulling nothing but pure hell over there, trying to defend herself. And they wanted to dismiss her, and I think she finally settled out. I'm not going to even ask for how much or whatever. But that's the way students are these days. You just go complain. So I invited him. My first day of class, I put Dr. Escamilla's telephone number up on the board, and his name is president. And I put the rest of the administration over there that are a bunch of nothing but two-bit bullies. And they don't care about education. I'm convinced of that. So I'm sure one of these days they're going to go lock me out, and I can't. I just pray every day. I say, don't let that key work today. I'm so sick and tired of this, attempt to bully students and shut me up and everybody else over there. And I know I don't have a PhD in community college administration. Therefore, I'm not going to make $300,000 and some odd a year. But frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. So next show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather some more information with Public Information Act, and I'm going to keep harping on that. I will invite all of you to the next the Taxpayers Association meeting. If this airs before the first Saturday in January, we meet at the small Planet Delicatessen at Staples and Saratoga. At 2 o'clock, they've got a little meeting room in the back, and we sit down and we hash things out. I'll publish the agenda, and we talk about things like recruitment of new members. We need some new members. Okay, and then we've got a call for Taxpayers Association to attend Del Mar College Board of Regents meetings and speak to the regents, which Mr. Gordy does, the vice president of our group. And he's been ushered out with the police and so forth, deputies and so forth, out of both city council meetings and Del Mar College for speaking his mind. And why they get upset, I don't know. He's the one that's paying the bills along with the rest of us taxpayers. But he's a very vocal individual. The city and Del Mar College cost for outside attorneys' fees. The Del Mar College budget is total confusion. Line item budget versus the enrollment. We've got the compliance of ADA. Our code enforcement here stinks, folks. And thanks to one Miles Risley, we don't have compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I'm trying to get the Department of Justice to come down here and straighten that out, along with the TxDOT and so forth and so on. Code enforcement, those people are a joke here in Corpus Christi, Texas. All they want to do is go hassle you fine folks out there about having grass, and then they won't go over there and take down illegal signs and put us in jeopardy with the Texas Highway Beautification Act, as well as the federal. Well, I'm winding down here, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. And my email is gsansing@gmail.com. Go into the YouTube with Jerry, Jerry, not G, but J for Jerry, and then Sansing, and you can pull up the shows. So I'm going to come back and show you that poinsettia and have a few last words. Okay, folks, sorry about the chair back being in there, but I'm not going to go back around and move that. I just wanted you to have a good shot at the beautiful amaryllis plant and enjoy it. So I'll see you next time.